Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to my series of Fantastic Four reviews leading up to Fantastic Four on Disney+. And today I'm reviewing Fan4Stick from 2015 starring Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan. Four young outsiders teleport to an alternate and dangerous universe which alternate their physical form in shocking ways. The four must learn to harness their new abilities and work together to save Earth from a former friend turned enemy. I was very hesitant in going into this movie because I heard so many bad things about it and I wasn't looking forward to watching this movie at all. You do feel like that you've turned on the wrong movie though, because it starts with the team as kids, which is one aspect is cool because it gets to establish the characters' relationships, especially Ben and Reed. It is kind of strange that this movie is trying to set itself somewhat in modern day, because the kids' scenes take place in 2007. And then when we actually see the cast that they actually casted for this movie, it's 7 years later. So it's one of those weird things. You could tell right from the first few scenes that they want to take more of a darker turn on Marvel's first family, which could work with the right script. I think the first act is really good. I actually really like the first half of this movie, because I actually do like the character building moments. I compare the first half of this movie, I compare this movie to the 2017 Power Rangers movie, because I really like the 2017 Power Rangers movie, because it's a character building movie, and we get the Power Ranger things in there, like we get the kids discovering Zordon, when we get the kids seeing Alpha for the first time, we see them seeing Rita, and that type of stuff, but they're not in the outfits until the final act, and that's basically what this movie is, but done worse, let's be honest. But I do like the character building moments, like seeing the development of the Reed and Ben relationship from the kid scenes to when we actually see Miles Teller and Jamie Bell playing these characters, and the same thing with Reed and Sue's relationship, and I like that scene of them in the library in the Baxter building, and I found it really good seeing those two interact. I actually really liked that. But when Johnny Storm showed up, this is where I was like, oh crap. Because it felt like I was watching a Fast and Furious movie, because he's literally doing a straight race. And I was like, what the hell? And the characterization of Michael B. Jordan's Johnny Storm is the worst out of the main four. Because, like, at least with, like, Chris Evans, he's like, alright, I'm a hothead, I'm going to be crushing on all the girls, and I am taking them all out to dates and stuff, which Michael B. Jordan's like, oh yeah, I'm a hothead, but they've kind of stripped the hot guy getting all the girls away from the character. They kind of did the same thing in the 1994 version, but like, that's not what they were going for in that movie. But the Chris Evans take on the Human Torch is very much like, I am Johnny Storm from the comics. I'm like, all the girls love me, and I'm super hot and stuff like that. Like, but yeah, I know that Michael B. Jordan, at this point, was a perfect casting choice to play Johnny Storm. Like, he's like Chris Evans, where he's like, he's hot, he can play the character, but, like, when you see, like, you can see some of the, especially later in the movie, like, not so in the first half, but later in the movie, around the time when, and I'll explain this a little later, but when they get into the teleporter and the four guys are on the planet that makes them get their powers, that's where you really start to feel the studio mandates going on behind the scenes. You know, I don't have a problem with change when it comes to adapting something from the source material, but the fact that Sue is adopted and Johnny Storm is the son of the scientist in the movie, but Sue is adopted. You're just like, why would you do that? Like, you don't need to change that just because you want to be different than the ones that came out in the early 2000s. You don't need to do that at all. Like, it's like, yeah, sure, it does happen in real life, but it's integral to the Fantastic Four that they are Marvel's first family. And Sue and Johnny being actual family, and taking that element away almost completely and making some type of other reason to why they're family is complete BS to me. Because you're like, what did you do? Like, this has made a disaster. Like, why would you do that just because you want to be different than the ones that came out in the early 2000s? That is BS. But as soon as the whole thing where they're going to space, I was like, what in the world? This isn't the origin that I know for the Fantastic Four. Because when I think of the origin, I think of the 2005 version. Like, we even get like flashbacks to it in First Steps. Like, those are the versions of the origin story I think of. Because, like, when they go to space, it's really Reed, Ben, Johnny, and Victor. And then Sue is trying to get them back. And it's like the only way that they got their... And the way that they got their powers in this movie is only because they've been playing with Ninja Turtle radioactive ooze that got them their powers. And then that goes on to the... It explodes while they're teleporting from outer space, and some of that gets onto their ship, and then as it teleports back, that hits Sue. So it's like, that's the only reason why she gets powers. You're like, what in the world? Like, come on, that is not the way to do this origin. Now, you would be asking, why isn't Sue with them? Because she isn't, because it's just Ben. I mean, I kind of went into it already, but it's already like Reed, Ben, Johnny, and Victor testing it out, and Sue is trying to bring them back, trying to communicate with them through the headset and the computers. I will say, I do like the body horror aspect of this movie, and not just them seeing in the hospital. Because you actually see the father's point of view of seeing Johnny and Sue, and him reacting to how Sue's unconscious, and how Johnny is this fire human, and his fire turning on, and like him looking at his father, and you're like, oh my god, I actually really dig this scene and this moment. Like, it really, really works because, like, even though I really like the 2000s Fantastic Four, and I think that that's one of the more proper ways to do the Fantastic Four, the way they get their powers are very like, oh yeah, we're fine. But, like, we actually see that getting these powers can be torture, so I actually really, really like that about it. About this version of the origin story, like, with the powers, and when Reed is seeing Ben as the Thing for the first time through the event, you're like, why are you doing that when you're in this state? Like, why would you do that? Like, that is ridiculous. It's crazy that after they got their powers, we cut to 1 year later, and they're already established with their powers, and we see that Ben is being used for the military, and Johnny is testing his flight ability, and Sue is like turning invisible and using it as like a relaxation type of thing. And I thought that sort of stuff was cool. The reshoots are obvious within this movie. Like, Sue's hair, it goes from a dark blonde to a bleach blonde in pretty much every scene after they get their powers. Like, not necessarily every cut, but every scene, where, like, one scene it's dark blonde, next scene it's bleach blonde. Like, it keeps cutting to that, to each version of her hair, and you're like, what is going on? Like, at least with the first half of the movie, I wasn't really noticing that. But, like, I'm noticing it when, like, as soon as they have their powers, and it's the second half of the movie after the 1 year later time jump. And when we see Reed again, and we see that he has, like, round band things that to help him control his stretchy powers, which I find that kind of silly. Like, the suits in this movie, they were trying to make it realistic. Why would you make this type of movie realistic? Like, this movie came out after a point where The Dark Knight was a huge thing, so everyone wanted to be The Dark Knight. Not necessarily X-Men, because X-Men was doing their own thing, but Fantastic Four, TASM, One, a bunch of other of these movies that weren't the MCU, like Marvel Studios movies, like Iron Man, Captain America, Avengers, Thor, that type of stuff. They were all going like, oh, okay, let's just basically do The Dark Knight, but how can we use it with the Fantastic Four or Spider-Man? That's what they were doing. So a lot of the ways that they try and make it realistic is just dumb. And why did they make the Thing have no pants? Like, he just looks butt-ass naked in this movie. Such a stupid decision. Anyway. And once you get the 1 year later text, this movie is kind of slow, and you're just waiting for the action scenes to happen. And you do get a little bit like when Reed is being chased by the army guys, and then Ben brings him back to the Baxter HQ. You're kind of like, okay, that's a little bit of an action scene, but not a great one. But I'll wait until the action starts to happen. And like with that scene, the CGI was not great. I don't know if it's because pulling off stretchy powers is hard, or it's really because the CGI with Reed in particular is not that great. I think it's just because it's hard to pull off stretchy powers. I think that's why it's hard to make a Fantastic Four movie, because like the flames you can do, the invisible thing you can do, the rock thing bit you can do, but the stretchy powers makes it look very gross and like not good looking, because you're stretching a body. So it's like, ugh, okay, yuck. And it's like you're making a CG model the whole time. So it's like, what in the world? And the character of Doctor Doom in this movie is the worst characterization of Doctor Doom we've ever seen. Like when they're trying to get back onto, when they're trying to get him back onto the ship, and they realize that he's still there, like that look is kind of cool, because you don't really see what he looks like underneath. You just see like a green cloak waving in the breeze, and you're like, oh, this could work. But then when they actually take him back and you actually see what it looks like, you're like, really? That's what you did with Doctor Doom? Like, what in the world? It's crazy to me how they even did that, because you're like, why did you do that? That is just stupid. How many times do we need to do a bloody sky beam? Like, in the 2000s, I mean not 2000s, but the 2010s, it was a thing to do sky beams. Like, you did in Avengers 1, you did in Ninja Turtles Are the Shadows, you did in Big Hero 6, you did in Suicide Squad, Man of Steel, bloody Rise of Skywalker, Ghostbusters 2016. It was a thing with action movies in the 2010s where it's like, oh, we gotta do a sky beam to make all the fans happy. It's like, no, you don't. It's why we like Infinity War and Endgame and No Way Home and stuff, because it's not a damn sky beam. It's just they've written something else other than a sky beam for shit to happen. Like, it's ridiculous to me. There are some cringy lines, like Sue going, Doctor Doom over here. What did you say? When they're trying to come up with the Fantastic Four name and stuff like that. I would have actually liked to have seen the Tim Mill version of Deadpool 2. This is going to tie into Fantastic Four, or Fan4Stick. Because apparently the script of Tim Mill's Deadpool 2 was going to have Deadpool teaming up with this version of the Fantastic Four. And I think if they did that version of Deadpool 2, I think the haters of the not just this movie, but the haters of the cast, they would have appreciated that cast a lot more, because they just need to be in a good movie and have a good script. And I think Ryan Reynolds and Tim Miller would have given them that. Because there will be no studio interference with that movie. I need to give Fan4Stick 2.5 out of 5 stars. I would be very interested in seeing the director's cut of this movie, because the director did say that he made a amazing Fantastic Four movie and the studio mandated it and did all that. And this seems like very much like a Justice League 2017 thing, where I really liked scenes and moments in this movie and how the first act was happening. But then when I see the director's cut, I'm going to go like, yeah, the flaws of this movie are going to stick out more of a sore thumb. I think it's just one of those things, because like Zack Snyder's Justice League made me realize how much great of a masterpiece that is compared to Justice League. So I'll be very curious if Marvel and Disney actually released the Fan4Stick director's cut, because I would have loved to see that. I think it would have made this movie so much better. So guys, thank you for watching. Next up, we are reviewing Fantastic Four first episode. The reason why I am reviewing all these. So guys, please hit the like button down below if you haven't already. Hit subscribe to the little bell icon to get notified of future videos that I'll make. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.
Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon.